So the song of nature, um, in essence, is always being sung or played or danced, however you want to look at it. And the human experience is one of either tuning into the song of nature or catching moments of it and then going back into our thought process, which removes us from experiencing the song of nature. So in some sense, in a Zen kind of way, the full experiencing of the moment would be the constant experiencing of the dance or the song of nature. Um, there's a great um, ancestor of the music tradition known as bluegrass. He's considered the father of bluegrass music, but he hails from Rosine, Kentucky. um, Kentucky is known as the bluegrass state. But bluegrass music was originated by, conceived of by a man whose name is Bill Monroe. And Bill Monroe wrote something like 100 spiritual songs, 200 instrumentals, and over 300 sort of songs, with a storyline, narrative song. He had one of the longest and most prolific recording and songwriting careers of any American musician. And he created a whole genre of music called bluegrass. But the roots of bluegrass music include the African American slave tradition singing, harmony spirituals, harmony blues. It included the influence of songwriters like Woody Guthrie, who were kind of just telling stories of experience. It included Scotch, Irish, Welsh music traditions that influenced traditional songs that were played for dances. And there was other influences, that came together through Bill Monroe's life experience that he put together to create the bluegrass music tradition. But as I think I said on the free call around nature and the power of music, we were once waiting outside a music venue in New York City for Bill Monroe to finish his show, and I'd been at a lot of bluegrass festivals, and I had sat and jammed with him in small circles a number of times over the years. So we knew each other by face and by voice, if you will, by singing together. But Bill Monroe's marquee on his bus said "Father of Bluegrass," his tour bus, and when he came out, I asked him a question. I said, "Bill, I see it says on your bus, Father of Bluegrass," and he said, "Oh yeah, that's me. They call me the Father of Bluegrass music," which of course I knew. I said, "But Bill, my friend Greg and I have been standing out here on the sidewalk for a while waiting for you just so we could say hi, but we had a question for you. If you're the father of bluegrass, who's the mother of bluegrass?" And he grabbed his chin and he looked up like this and he said, "In all my years of playing bluegrass music, no one's ever asked me that question before." And we said, "Well, we've been thinking about it, Bill, and we think we know the answer." And he says, "Well, what would that be?" And we said, "We think it's Mother Nature." And he said, "I always have enjoyed the Mother Nature, and we cued him to start thinking about the song of nature, essentially, and that in taking time to tune in a timeless way through his senses to the natural world around him, he would hear, what he said, he would hear songs on the wind. And in hearing the songs on the wind, he would catch those songs. He would catch those songs on the wind. And, so you could think of our relationship to composing music. It's not so much in this particular way of looking at it. I mean, there's other ways to look at it, but in this way of looking at it, the way I'm looking at it right now, that relates to the healing power of music. You're not actually creating the music or inventing it or coming up with it out of your mind. Instead, you're catching the song on the wind. You're catching the song out of the silence of nature. It's coming to you like a wind, and you're capturing it. So song catching is what Bill talked about. And he said, if you can catch that song, it's yours. So the moment you hear a song on the wind, you really need to have some kind of capture tool, be it a recorder, a smartphone with a recording device, or, a digital audio recorder, whatever, to make sure that you don't miss the song as it comes through to you. Many people make the mistake of thinking that, oh, that's such a simple melody, I'll always remember it, and then an hour later they can't remember it at all. So don't think that catching songs is a given. Just because you heard it pass by in the last moment, that means you've got it. You don't necessarily have it. You really have to put some energy into thinking about how you're going to capture that song. So, to me, the song of nature is a continuous outflow of possible songs that you can catch. And I think if we took timelessness with intention right now, all of us on this webinar, and went outside for 5 minutes and came back, there'd probably be 10 new songs or tunes just from that. And does that mean you're special if you caught one and no good if you didn't catch one? No. In the 80 people at the Nature and the Power of Music that we did in Germany, we got 24 new songs. I can predict to you that out of those 80 people, probably another 20 people got songs but felt self-conscious and didn't want to share them because they didn't think they were good enough, or somehow they weren't musicians, so their song wasn't going to be good enough. And there's all those sort of subconscious messages. I can almost guarantee that most people received some kind of song inspiration and either didn't catch it or didn't feel they were quote-unquote good enough to bring a song forward. But my experience is that, especially when I'm working with children who haven't developed all those messages about themselves, that song catching is pretty much a universal ability. We all have it. It's there, and there must be a reason for that. Why are people song catchers?